All right. We're going to have a fun little 30-minute session here. I'm going to interview 3 people. Some of you have been asking about our business coaching and those sorts of things. So we're going to have a couple people come up, and then Art McDermott is going to close us out. So Dina, if you would join me up on the stage first. We'll start with you. So basically, I'm going to ask them some questions and kind of how their business is doing, and we'll get some honest feedback. I need to get you a mic. There you go. All right. So I first met Dina in San Diego, right?
Yep.
Functional Aging Specialist Workshop, San Diego. How many clients have you been training at that point?
0.
You got to hold the mic up.
0.
0. Okay. So she was pretty much brand new to fitness. She kind of introduced herself to me as, I decided to buy a gym. How hard could it be? Had a feeling that might get a laugh in this room. And I said, well, probably not that hard, but are you making any money? You remember what you said?
Well, I was making $3,000 a month.
$3,000 a month. So
less than $3,000.
Tell them a little bit about the kind of gym you bought.
So I bought an unfranchised Curves. So I did have cash flow. It was cash flow positive. There were about 110 ladies paying $35 a month. Wow. And actually, when I had met Dan, when I went down to San Diego, I was talking to someone. I was going to pay someone $10,000 to help me get that to 300 people paying me $35 a month.
Yeah, and I remember having the conversation with you, like, well, how do you enjoy the current clients you have? Like, you have 100 clients paying you $35 a month. Do you want to have 3 times of those? Do you remember what you said?
Oh my God, I'd rather what? 2 glass. They were very lovely ladies. The good thing about the business was I had 110 very loyal ladies doing the same exact workout for 12 years. The bad thing about it was that I had 110 very loyal ladies who wanted to continue to do the same workout forever. Yeah,
another problem, interesting challenge. So fast forward a couple of months, she comes to our advanced functional aging specialist course at Miracles Fitness. At this point, I think you were training 2 or 3 clients?
No, I had, by then, I came back from your thing, and people are like, oh, you went to this thing, you know how to train people now, right? I said, sure, how hard could it be? So I did. I did get like 9 one-on-one clients there at the facility. Had a little back room that was smaller than the stage. I think it was just like right here. And I'd be like, jumping jacks over the dogs.
Okay, so she comes to our advance in June, and a couple months later, I think you kind of reached out to me and you realized, I'm still not getting anywhere. I still have 100 members that are essentially kind of driving you nuts is kind of the gist of it. And you started coaching with me, I think, in October or November. Do you remember?
Well, no. Here's what. So I went to the advanced. I'm like, advanced, going to go get all this great business training. I went back home. I was super excited, and I did nothing. So I did nothing, and I stressed and really got it. And so Dan and Cody really want you to do small group training. They're like, you got to ditch the circuit, but the most important thing, really, small group training. That is really the way to go. Small group training, I said, oh, yeah, I'm going to do it. And finally, I reached out to Dan. I said, hey, so I've been, wanting to do this. I've been planning. I keep planning. He said, well, planning is not going to get you people in the door. And so I said, well, will you help me kick this off? I mean, I'm sure it's not that hard, but I don't know what I'm doing. So he said, Monday, you're starting this. I think I talked to him on a Tuesday. Guess what? Monday. Pick 3 times during the day. You're going to do this. Send an email out. He gave me a copy for 3 emails and said, you're going to start this on Monday. And I'm like, how hard could it be, right? So, yeah,
that's
I did.
One good thing about Dina is her attitude was, well, okay, how hard can it be?
Yep.
And you would just do what I told you.
Yep. Dan totally held my hand. So I picked, 10 o'clock, 4 p.m., 6 p.m., sent off emails. I think I had to check the numbers, but it was like maybe I had 10 people that started. And I was telling this story earlier where I was like, that Monday, I was so freaking nervous. I'm like, I got to work out and I was nervous, but it was exciting. And now it's like I do small group training all throughout the day.
Yeah. So fast forward to January, you start ongoing coaching with me, December, January ongoing. In January, you kind of have this big aha moment, like, I can't keep doing this circuit business?
Correct. Yeah. So to start the small groups, basically I had 1,200 square feet, most of it filled with all this really icky equipment, and I carved out like 10 square feet, so a little bit more than my back room. It was like half the stage, and I was training 4 people in this area while the circuit was still going. And my revenue, once I kicked off my small group, I was making, $3,000 a month, $3,000 to $4,000 a month. $15,000 was the next month because I had people convert over, pay me. I mean, I had someone pay me $2,000. I texted you. I'm like, holy crap, this means I have to be in business for another year.
Yeah, right. I'm committed. So we got you to a certain level where you realized, I can fire all the circuit clients. And you did, was it in February you did that?
End of January, February
End of January?
6th. Yeah.
Interesting transformation. I was sharing this actually in San Diego at the TT Summit where we met a year ago.
Yep.
And I said on stage, I said, a year ago at TT Summit, she's just starting out. She's got 100 members. And guess what? A year later, she's fired all of those members and replaced them with how many training clients do you have
So I
now?
have 53 contracted clients now.
Wow, that's great. That's
Doing
awesome.
small group training. And then this past month, I did 20K.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's fantastic.
All thanks to you.
So, last question. Have you decided whether you're doing our mastermind and continuing with us?
Absolutely.
All right. All right. Thanks very much.
That's the last question.
Yep, that's it. You're off the hook. All right, Shelley, you're next. Now, some people have asked us, and I'm bringing Shelley up, because some people have asked us, well, I'm thinking about starting a business, right? Like that wantrepreneur, like Bedros said earlier. You might be sitting here right now saying, I want to start my own business in 6 months. I don't know if I'm ready for mastermind. Well, Shelley's someone that came to our advance last year and has been thinking about coaching with us for quite a while, so I'll give you the mic. So tell us just a little bit about your experience of the 2-day advanced, kind of what you learned from that, and then kind of how that has shaped your direction of opening your business.
Okay, well, I also met Dan in San Diego a year ago at TT, did the 1-day thing with Dina. And then, because I knew I wanted to start a business, actually at that time I had a business partner, and we were talking about doing this together. And so the two of us went down to Indiana in July, did the 2-day thing, and it was fabulous. Got to see both facilities that Dan and Cody own down there, and got to talk to the trainers, got to talk to some of his clients, and really see the inner workings of the business, which was great. We also got a whole day of, well, half a day, I guess, of intensive teaching. Learned the first thing I'd ever heard about how to market to this age group, because I had no clue, how it's different than, your typical personal training clients. And then the 1 day, the Sunday when we all met at the hotel, and Dan and Cody went through each of us, basically, what's your business at right now? Where do you want to go? How can we help you get there? That was really, really good and really, really helpful. As it turns out, my potential business partner bailed on me about a week after we went to Lafayette, but now I'm determined I'm going to do it on my own, so it slowed me down a little bit. So I have not yet hired Dan and Cody for coaching, but he's been awesome with the advanced specialist certification. We've got access to that Facebook page and all the webinars and everything that we've been getting for the past few months. There's actually too many. I can't keep up.
They are recorded. You can go back to
I know, but I don't have time.
So share with them a little bit kind of your future plans, and I know you've been telling me one of your business plans is to put our mastermind in your budget for your business.
Yes, I'm going to the bank on Monday, actually.
All
and
right.
the mastermind's in there, so I'm committed to doing that.
Excellent,
Because I don't think I can do it on my own. And I talk to Dina fairly regularly, so I know what she's been going through with you, and she has nothing but great things to say. And actually, Dan helped me out when he heard my partner bailed on me. He said, call me, let's talk. And he kind of pointed me in my next direction. A couple weeks ago, too, we talked again, and he's been really fabulous about just kind of keeping me on
with them.
course.
I want you to share with them because I think you were going into kind of leasing and banking and financing with this like real grandiose business plan. And you remember I sort of gave you some advice in terms of, don't make the landlord so afraid.
Scale it back.
Yeah, scale it back. Don't make the landlord so afraid of what you're planning. Can you kind of share that a little bit?
Well, yeah, my expenses, I've got it down about $5,000 a month, so that's good.
Perfect.
Landlords approved it. We're good to go as long as I get my financing. He's happy with everything. And so, yeah, Dan has sort of just said, don't be quite so pie in the sky, I guess. Be a bit more realistic. You don't need to have all the Kaiser equipment right off the bat. That's not the kind of training I do anyway.
Right.
Keep it minimal, keep it realistic, and then grow from there. So.
Excellent. And what's your anticipated opening date?
Sometime between September and November. I got my ideal space, as long as the financing comes through. Don't have to do a stitch of renovations other than a coat of paint. So, 2,400 square feet. I'll be opening sometime between September and November.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much, Shelley. All right. Very good stuff. All right. Well, we did not, unfortunately, have time to get Art on stage for a full presentation, but I absolutely wanted to get him up here for at least 10, 15 minutes. If you haven't heard the webinars that Cody's done with Art, I think he's done at least 2. You definitely should check those out. 45 minutes, great information. He's here all weekend. You should definitely have lunch with him tomorrow. So Art McDermott, come on up. And Art, just to be clear, Art is not a coaching client. No. Just so everybody knows that. So Art, tell us just a little bit kind of about your history in the fitness industry, former fitness business owner, now turned a different kind of entrepreneur.
Yeah, I definitely changed direction a little bit. My background, I've been in the industry forever. I'm a certified strength coach and nutritionist. I took the first National Strength and Conditioning Association exam in 1985. So I've been doing it a little while now. So I'm also a nutritionist, but the favorite thing I do right now is I'm an adjunct professor at UMass Lowell, where I teach students how to write physical therapy programs. They're all physical therapy students, right up your alley, but they don't have the knowledge yet, obviously, to write their own programs. So that's what I do, and that's my favorite thing right now, doing the coaching bit. My background is in track and field. The reason I got into the fitness industry at all was track and field. I come from Boston University, and I was a 4-time All-American there in track and field. I threw the shot put and discus. And I don't say that to tout everything, but it comes around back to the boomer thing and why I ended up in this industry. But see, the reason I ended up here is kind of it's a longer story, but I ended up going from track and field to the Highland Games. You ever see the ones where they have the kilts on and they're throwing the cabers around the field? It's kind of where throwers go to retire. I ended up there. But the reason I was in that industry, it got me to expose to some of the best people out there. I got to work with super high-end people, and I ended up transferring all that knowledge into fitness, and then, well, we'll get to that, but it's progressed from there.
Yeah, yeah. And obviously being a baby boomer yourself, I'm sure some of what's been talked about today resonates with you. What do you see, as, we kind of make mistakes sometimes. Like we just think, oh, well, we'll market to boomers this way and they'll respond, right? So what would you say are kind of the top 3 mistakes you see people making, especially in boomer fitness marketing?
Well, 3 things jump to mind when people are doing their marketing. Number 1 is everyone thinks that the same marketing you do to a 20 or 30-year-old is going to work with me. And it doesn't. And so until you start speaking the right language, you're not going to get that. So if I'm, for example, I had an example of a website. The first impression that someone's getting of you probably going to be your website. They're going to find you online. And if that website has a picture of a fitness model, right away I'm saying, okay, disconnect number 1. Is that me? It's probably not me. I'm not saying that's a wrong. If your website, you're thinking about it right now, and your website has a fitness model on it, I'm not saying that's bad, but I'm saying if you want to get me in there, that may be not the best first image that you want to see. And the second one is not having the right programming. So if I walk into your gym and you have boot camps and you have one-on-one, you have this, there needs to be a program that's only for me. What do you have for me? Because that's what our generation is about. Listen, you better be talking to me. I'm not interested in, if your version of programming in your facility is to take your boot camp and modify it down, so if I'm doing a burpee, I'm doing it down to a Reebok step, that's your version of a boomer program, then you're probably not there yet. So you can do it at 2 levels, and we'll talk about that, but you can either be all about the boomers, that's it, right? You only have clients who are over 50. Or within your facility, because you're not going to turn away, hey, a lot of my clients are 30, 35, and they want to work with us. That's great. But you need to have a program within that better be targeting them and specialize on them. And the third one, and actually Scott touched on this exactly, kind of stole my thunder a little bit. That's all right. One-off marketing. I did a Facebook campaign and it didn't work. I had a client last week that I was working with on the phone. She said, I did Facebook, it doesn't work. I said, well, have you done any direct mail? What have you done there? I did a direct mail piece, didn't work. So they're doing one-off marketing and expecting people to follow up with them. So those three mistakes, doing the one-off marketing, is probably the biggest waste of money as well, because they're just not, it's not going to work.
So tell us about your transformation from being a fitness business owner, being in the trenches, to now Boomer Blueprint, age redefined.
Right. So the Boomer Blueprint came about. It's if you were on the webinar, you heard kind of the short story of it. A couple of summers ago, I live in the Northeast, and we have a place in New Hampshire, and we're on the water one day. And now, again, I have the sports background my entire life. I've been swimming, running, hockey, football, baseball, did it all. Track and field, found my niche. And so on the water one day, and one of those little floaty things goes over the side of the boat. It's time to go back in. I'm telling my son, he's young, he's combative. Hey, go get it. No, I don't want to go get it. I'm all dry. We're going back and forth, things floating away. So don't think anything of it. I hop in the water, and I go to retrieve it. And it was almost like one of those movies where, see down the hallway where the door keeps getting further away. And this thing, and I'm swimming after it, but I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm just more annoyed at my son, right, at this point. So I finally, when I'm swimming, and I'm swimming, I'm like, you know what? I'm getting a little tired. I'm getting a lot tired. And it's not the most pleasant story to talk about. I kept going, and when I finally get to this little $1.75 floaty plastic thing in the water, right? And I'm gonna, I'm chasing this down like it's a big deal. And I get to it, and I'm like, I really don't feel good at all. And I am not real excited about that swim back to that boat, because I had no business swimming that far. I just don't swim regularly. I'm a sinker. It's just from lifting for 30 years, you get that. So I said, I have a better chance of getting to the shore here. We're in this little inlet, so I got to try for the shore. So I got to get out of the water now. So I start heading to the shore, and I'm about halfway to the shore, and I'm like, this is going from a not so good situation to a really, really dangerous situation. And I said, now, and the things that go through your head are just amazing. I'm sitting there, we're on the boat, and my whole family's there. My mother's there. My kids are there. My dogs are there looking over the side of the boat. And I'm saying, this is going to really suck if I drown in front of my whole family. This is going to be really bad. So, and I'm struggling, trying to get shore. My wife, who was on shore already, she'd been picking blueberries, whatever, she hears there's a commotion going on. And she says to me, she yells, "Are you okay?" And I was like, no, I know. I couldn't even get that out. My arms are lead, and I'm like, this is not good. So she, thankfully, she also did professional sports. She was strength sports. I did the Highland Games, and I also went on to do pro strongman stuff, so she did the strongman thing. She helped me get to shore. If I'm 20 yards further out, I'm not getting to shore. Done. She wasn't going to be able to carry me that far. All I wanted to do was get on the ground again. And so the reason I tell that story is because that's the day I went from being invincible. I could do everything. I'm an all-American athlete. I can do anything, to not that guy anymore. And I didn't talk to anybody the rest of the day. I wouldn't talk. First of all, I was embarrassed. I got myself in a situation I never should have been in. And then I was like, I can't do that stuff anymore. And I said, now I lived, but there's a lot of people who aren't going to. There's people dying every day, situation like that, they didn't get out of it. And I'm like, I have the knowledge to fix that. I don't think this industry, this demographics being served correctly at all. So I can help. I can do something like that. So that's why I created that for the end user. I said, I can help these people get a starting point. That's all the Boomer Blueprint is, about getting a starting point for the end user, for your clients, where they start. And then obviously what I've done, and this actually ties into the mastermind program that you're talking about. How did I so I've run facilities my whole life. Now I don't have a facility. Well, the reason is, I was, like Pedro was saying, his example earlier, you have a good month, you have a bad month. You struggle, then it's great, everything's wonderful, it's January, and everybody signed up, it's awesome, March, nobody's there. So it was that thing, and then the one thing took me from that struggle to last year, actually a year ago, June, I sold my facility. Some people came in and said, I love what you're doing here. Our sales were multiple six figures, and they bought my facility. So I said, you know what, I love doing this stuff, but I love helping people do the baby boomer stuff better. So I took all the stuff I've been doing for my business, doing all the marketing, the Facebook, the email, the direct mail, the sales funnels, and created a product that helps trainers gross only to baby boomers. So that's kind
Cool.
of that's a long story about how it's done.
Yeah, that's a great story, powerful story. In 60 seconds or less, just tell the audience, I think everybody already believes this here, but do you think trainers can be successful just purely focusing on the baby boomers?
Well, I mean, clearly the answer is yes, but let me give you one great example. If you watch all the high-ticket advertising on TV right now, what are they using for background music? They're using The Who, they're using Springsteen, they're using those songs, right? And my kids make fun of me because I say my son Matt, same one who dropped the floaty overboard, but anyway, we still talk. And I said, Matt, who are these people targeting? Baby boomers, Dad. And I'm like, yeah, good, you're learning. So it's clear, it's if these people, the big boys are doing it,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Then
Absolutely.
that's it.
All right, final question, then we're going to go to break. What do you think, and I know some trainers have struggled with this, right? Like they just don't connect with boomers and seniors. What do you think is the biggest disconnect for trainers with boomer and senior clients?
In my opinion, and I've got a really good example from my business, the biggest disconnect that people have connecting with me, and a lot of the trainers I see here in my demographic, is not planting your flag in the ground. I spoke with Nancy in here, she's in here, said the exact same thing, not planting your flag in the ground and saying, this is what I do. And I do it really well. If you want to do X, you need to see me because I'm the expert at this. Because you have a gym that kind of markets to everybody, and so you kind of get everybody. But if you plant your flag in the ground and say, this is what we do, and we do it really well, you're going to come here. Like in your area, where else are you going to go besides your facility? You're not, because you planted your flag in the ground. And here's the example. I had a pretty sizable email list. Over the years, obviously, collected a lot of names, offering the content. And when I decided a couple years ago to rebrand as the Boomer Blueprint, I knew I was going to lose people. I knew, because we trained athletes, I've trained pro athletes, I've trained everything in between. But once I started my content, I said, that's it. No. It was after that event I just described. I said, this is what I'm doing. Because I can help them the most. I planted that flag in the ground, and originally I saw a dip. And then it comes back up. And that's what you have to, what do you stand for? What's your message? Who is this for, and why should they come to you?
Yeah, awesome, fantastic. Well, Art, thanks so much for sharing. We are going to go to, I think, a 15-minute break. And then we'll finish up with our last session of the day. So make sure you're listening for the music. And Art will be here all weekend, so if you want to have breakfast or lunch with him. Thanks. Thanks, Art.